What happens after we die? Is there an afterlife waiting for us, or do we come back reborn into this world, continuing the stories of our souls? We've all pondered it, and despite the centuries of scientific discoveries, the truth remains elusive. But there are some among us, children specifically, who seem to remember lives they never lived, or did they? Tonight, we're diving into two mysterious cases. The case of Shanti Devi and James Leininger, two young souls who remembered past lives and whose stories changed the very fabric of the reality we know. Could reincarnation be real? Or is something stranger at work?
Welcome, stranger.
Secret society.
Strangers. Society.
Welcome to the secret society.
Strangers?
Welcome to the Secret Society of Strangers. I'm Lee, and tonight, with my friends Josh and Jen, we're going to walk through these stories of these two children who came back remembering lives that they should have forgotten.
I can't even remember what I had for breakfast this morning, but what it do?
You are correct
Did I
in
have
that.
breakfast
Yes.
this morning?
I never have breakfast.
don't
No,
think
you're
I
right.
did.
I don't
remember it.
either. Yeah. Straight to lunch,
I
but
don't think
hello.
Yeah.
So, little bit of a side note. This topic, these stories came about because I recently went under hypnosis to have a past life regression. It was pretty incredible. I'm not going to go into all the details here. If you guys do want to hear more about it, feel free to comment below and I will put together like a story time or something to tell you guys about it. Today, we are going to be talking about two children, worlds apart. One's from India, one's from America, but they both have similarly eerie stories. Wow, I'm talking too much.
They were a lot
I'm gonna
alike.
stop.
That one.
A lot alike. All right, so our first story is a story that takes place in Delhi, India in 1926. It's about a girl named Shanti Devi. From the outside, she was born completely normal, regular family, nothing unusual, except that she did not speak. Not that unusual. Her parents kind of just chalked it up for the first 5 years that she was mute. Kind of just lived with it, didn't really question it. This was their daughter. That's what it was. So it was right around 4 or 5 years she started talking. She started talking, but she did not start talking like your typical child. She didn't start babbling and talking about her toys or the things that like she saw in her day. She started talking about another woman's life. So Shanti would claim that she was a completely different woman, that she shouldn't be here, that she's married, and that she was expecting a baby.
Whoa.
Now, this is coming from a
Who
4-year-old.
hasn't spoken?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
lot
some
to be
heavy
taken
first
on.
words.
Right? Hasn't said anything. Now she's full sentences, recapturing stories from a past life. Obviously, her parents didn't just like listen to her first and say, "Oh yeah, of course, like you're this older woman that died. Like, sure, you came back." Kind of
Makes
brushed it
total
off.
sense.
Her mom and her sister in particular would kind of be like, "Oh, Shanti's joking, like it's not real," but she would get pissed. Like, she would start yelling at her sister and her mom, saying like, "This isn't my life. This is not my real family. I belong somewhere else. I want to get back there desperately." And like, this is all coming from a child's mouth. I could just only imagine like the parents are sitting there like, "What are you supposed to say that?" Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Go do your thing.
Hoping it was just a phase and it would end soon, I guess. Like, you just hope that it's going to be over. But Shanti's memories became more and more vivid as time went on. So she started to remember where she was from. So she claimed that she was from this place called Murta. I'm not going to pronounce it right the whole time, guys, so it's okay. It's about 1,000 miles away from Delhi, and no one in her family had ever been there. So they have no idea how this little girl would even know of this place. Furthermore, she refers to the place in the name that the locals call it. So like that Murtra is actually Murthra is the full name of the place. So she kind of uses the slang name for the town she's from. Again, the parents have never been there. Why would they know, or why would she hear this?
Right. And she's also 4, so like, where is she gonna pick this shit up from?
Exactly. Like, how much of like she picking up to know where places are? It's one of those things that it's like a weird detail, and it's almost too mundane to be made up.
Right.
Like, you're not gonna make up the name of a name. Like, you're just gonna call it something.
Yeah.
So, like I said, days went on, her memories became more and more vivid. She started speaking of her old home and her house. She would describe it as a yellow house. She also said that her husband was wealthy and they owned multiple properties. So she would also talk about this other property that she had liked that had a well out in the front yard. She said that she remembers the temple that she used to walk to daily to pray to Krishna. Again, why is a 4-year-old? How does a 4-year-old know that that's like a ceremonial thing to do?
Right.
In like a grown-up's life. She talks about her husband in detail. She goes on to explain he was a wealthy businessman. She describes the birthmark that he has on his cheek. She describes the reading glasses that he wears. She even becomes so immersed in her past life, she starts taking on traits of the former life that she had. So she becomes a vegetarian. She won't even touch meat because her family and all the people in her city were all vegetarians and didn't eat meat in her past life. So she will not eat it as a 4-year-old now. Even more chilling, the memories became more vivid and she got more detail, almost as she was going through time with her memories at the same time. So in the beginning, she would say that she was expecting a baby, and then eventually she remembers the birth of her son. She's able to tell you in detail about the day of the birth and the procedure that she went through. Now she's able to tell you about the medical procedure that she went through to give birth to her child in detail.
No.
Yeah, I don't think any small child's gonna know that.
No.
Not at all.
No. So now the parents are like, okay, hold on. This
Where
is
are you getting
really, really weird. Like, now you're like giving us crazy, crazy detail. So they start taking her to doctors, worried that like maybe she's got some kind of mental state that they don't know of, that they want to get checked out. Doctors look at her physically, psychologically, perfect, nothing wrong. But multiple doctors comment on the strange fact that she can tell them so much about a medical procedure that obviously a 4-year-old should know nothing about. She lives like this. She's going on years. Her family is Hindu, so reincarnation is a part of their religion. But remembering your past lives is extremely uncommon, and in the religion is looked upon as not such a great thing. It could mean that like your life is destined to be suffering, or like you're holding on to past karmas. So it's not like a thing where they would be like, oh yay, like look, our daughter is reincarnated. Like it's something that they're kind of keeping secret.
Yeah.
They don't want people getting out and talking about it in the town. They try. They're trying to live with this. They buy her a sari, and if you don't know what a sari is, it's like a traditional like Hindu gown. It's like a flowing dress kind of thing that women wear.
I did not know that, except for the board game.
That's a different sari. This is SARI, sorry. But she comments on the quality of the sari that her parents got her, telling them, you overpaid for this.
Yeah.
I am used to wearing fine clothing. My husband wouldn't put me in this cheap clothing.
Damn.
So now, like, this is like a 5-6-year-old, like,
Spicy little
calling
kid.
you out on your fucking
Yeah.
purchases.
I'd be so mad.
Now, things get even harder for the parents to start to cope with because now she starts recalling her actual death.
Oh.
Ooh, spooky.
I know.
Coincidence?
Think not. She starts describing what went wrong during the procedure and her giving birth, and she's able to remember that she died giving
Oh,
birth.
shoot.
Damn. Does
Again.
she remember anything of the other side before coming into this fucking baby kid?
He
Oh,
does, and we'll
okay.
get to that in a little bit.
Oh,
First,
fuck.
the problem is that she's a little girl. Little girls have to go to school.
Yeah.
So eventually, Shanti goes to school. And she can't keep her mouth shut because she's a little girl and she's telling everybody in school that she's had this past life, that she's not Shanti, that she's actually a woman named Shanti Devi. So now she knows her name. Everyone now is growing increasingly uncomfortable with this narrative of this 6-7-year-old being able to, like, call adults out on their clothing and recite.
Yeah, I wonder why
surgical
everybody's getting
procedures.
terrified.
Now, the word's out. Everyone in town kind of knows about this. It's making the rounds. A group of teachers and other, like, adults kind of get together and say, like, maybe we should investigate this. They approach Shanti's family and ask permission to, like, ask her questions in her home. They give her permission. Shanti answers all the questions in eerie detail to the point where these people are like, she's not making this up. She's vividly recounting, remembering something. So they go a step further, and without telling her what their plans would be with this information, they decide to ask Shanti what her husband's name was. Now, in her religion, in her past life, it is forbidden or heavily looked down upon for a wife to speak her husband's name.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So she tries to not do it over and over. Eventually, she quietly whispers her husband's name, which is Kedar Nath Chobi. And they take that information secretly. They take that and they search the area that she said they were from. Surprisingly enough, a man with that name comes up. They write him a letter telling him, hey, we have this 8-year-old girl here in Delhi who believes she's your former wife. They give him some of the details, and he responds.
That would fuck me up hard.
He writes back and he confirms everything that Shanti has said. Yes, he was married to a woman named Lugdi. Yes, she was pregnant and she died at childbirth. And yes, he now has a 10-year-old son that was her child. So being this far away, Kedar is like, hey, I kind of want to figure this out. I have a cousin in Delhi. His name's Kenji. I am going to, like, give him your information. We'll hook you guys up. We'll see what she says when she sees my brother. I feel
like Chris Hansen should be somewhere in this.
What's your name? Kenji? Did she tell you she was 15 when you were on the internet with her? No.
It was my cousin's wife, but reincarnated in a 4-year-old.
So they set up a meeting between Kenji and Shanti instantly, upon sight, has a recognition. She runs over to this man that no one thinks she knows, hugs him, and starts asking him personal questions like, are you still not married? Have you bought the house yet? And even goes into, like, joking with him about how she knows that he used to have a crush on her before she married his cousin. She can't quite remember his name, but obviously Kenji is very weirded out by what is going on right
Shitting
now.
his
There's this
pants,
8-year-old
because I would be.
talking to him like someone that has known him
Oh yeah.
his entire life. So he reaches out to his cousin and says, hey, bro, cuz you got to come down to Delhi because this 8-year-old's your wife. Your dead wife. He makes the trip. Like, he is interested. He wants to find out if this is true. Why would someone be scamming him? If they were scamming him, how would they have all this sensitive information? He's not convinced. This is not enough for him. So on his trip to Delhi, he kind of comes up with like one last test, let's say. So he says when he gets there, he's going now with his new wife and Shanti and his son. So he travels there, but he says he's going to introduce himself as his brother Ram. And if she's not his ex-wife, she would obviously not know. And she's just like, oh, hi, Ram, and you know, whatever. But as soon as he gets to her home and she sees his face, she instantly knows it's Kenji and Kedar and is like overcome with emotion. She hugs him. She starts talking about all the things that they were remembering that they did. And then she sees her son.
That's gotta be heavy.
She is an emotional wreck. She runs over to him. She hugs him and she starts asking him questions. His name is Navnet. So he's about a 10-year-old boy. She starts talking to him. She starts talking to her husband, saying all these things. And she starts saying like things that no one else would even know. So she starts talking to her husband about promises that they had made to each other before she had died. One of the promises was that he would not remarry, which is one of the promises that he broke, obviously.
Ooh. That's why she came back.
She also tells him that she remembers the night of conception of their son as in detail, so he knows that she's not like just making this up. She's not like, oh, we were in bed. Like, no, he's like where we were, whatever.
No, I was doing that thing that you like, but I only do it on special occasion.
Yeah, you know that thing. She then goes on to tell him that she, even when she was alive, she had caught him cheating on her with his now wife.
Damn, Kedar.
And can tell him like the place that happened. So obviously now he's like, holy shit, this is real. Like, she knows way too much.
This is unreal. Wow.
It's hard to say like where she would have gotten all this information from. So word has now spread through India to the point where Mahatma Gandhi is like, hey, we need to look into this. I'm going to send some of like my people from like institution and some like teachers and stuff with you back to Murdra to find out like if this is a real case of incarnation.
It's cool that Gandhi got into it because like that's a whole thing about reincarnation in itself. Like when like the Dalai Lama and stuff like that, they pass away, they go out to find like the successor, but it's always some reincarnated version of him, and they give him tests and stuff like that. Yeah,
the Lama writes down some questions, personal questions, and then have all these other questions that are like just ritual questions, and then they pick another one. Yeah, so he now is interested, like, hey, if this is real, like, you know, like the Pope would look into like a sighting of, you know, the coming back of Jesus. He'd be like, hey, we have to send like a cardinal to check this out. So he sends his people. He gives them specific directions. Do not talk to her. You are there to merely observe her and what she does when you go to this town. Do not lead her anywhere. Do not ask her questions. Do not give off anything that would suggest that you know anything about her past life.
Yeah.
They take the train. They arrive. They get off the train. There's a man at the train station, very old man. Shanti drops to this man's feet and starts crying and says that this is her brother-in-law. It's her brother-in-law.
Jesus fuck.
So no one knows how she knows this man. Obviously, the hits keep coming. They say, hey, like, where are you going to go? Like, what's your next step? She's like, I want to go to my home. They don't give her any directions. She navigates herself right to the yellow house.
She's still like an 8-year-old kid, right?
Oh, yep, 8 years old at
Okay.
this time. The only problem is that the house is not yellow. So they get to the house, they talk to the owners
They
of the
painted it.
house. They say the house was yellow when we moved in, but we painted
Uh-huh.
it white. Yep. The tour continues. She takes them to the other property that she talked about with the well. And then initially, she's a little concerned, and she's like, they notice that she's like off center, and she's like, for the first time, maybe looks confused, like this isn't so sure. She starts to mention, like, I thought there was a well here. I don't see a well. Kenji goes over, says, hey, look. He moves this giant rock. There's a well there. She also mentions that in this house that she had hidden money in a room, and Kenji then can corroborate that earlier when she had been passed away and gone, they did find money hidden in the room in this house. So with all this evidence and the people watching her, it is deemed that this is an actual case of reincarnation, maybe the most detailed and like verifiable
Yeah.
case in history.
It's got to be the
Wow.
longest running because
She's
kids
got a
normally
l-
don't go this long, not
Yes,
this many
so-
Yeah.
years before they totally forget it.
Exactly.
No, this is the long con.
So we'll talk about that at the end of this next story we're going to get into, because like you're saying in this story, the kid kind of, instead of
Which is
increasing memories,
normal.
they fade.
Mhm.
So she is definitely an outlier. Wow.
So this next story takes place in America in the year 2000 in Louisiana. There's a child named James born to Bruce and Andrea Leininger. Again, all accounts of this child are completely normal, happy child doing children things until he's around the age of 4. He starts having these nightmares, like these reoccurring, exactly the same nightmares. He keeps waking up. And now, for a lot of children, this is kind of a normal phase. Night terrors happen. It's just part of like the growing up of children. So the parents are understanding, but not super concerned. Like, hey, you know, our sleep sucks, but you know, he'll get through this phase. It didn't go away. So for months, it continued. And then he started like screaming in his dreams and like just sounding very, very scared and emotional while he was dreaming. Then he started vocalizing, actually saying things. And the things he started saying were chilling his parents to the core. So he would repeat this line: airplane crash, on fire, little man can't get out. Airplane crash, on fire, little man can't get out. And he would say that over and over like a broken record. And they're now like, okay,
Fuck
why
are
you
you
saying
talking?
this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously they probe, they ask questions. At first, he kind of just says, I'm in a plane crash. James is in a plane crash. It's a dream. He starts to treat his toys differently. He starts playing differently. So he would do this like repeated circle with his airplane toy and kind of just fly it in a circle until it got hit in a specific area and would crash. And he would always say like it got hit in this tail section and the plane went down. And what was also eerie to his parents is that he would like look over the toys with like a mechanic's eye, and he would point out like, oh, this is this model, so this shouldn't be here. Like it doesn't have like a flap here, or like this, you know, this doesn't open on this version of a plane, or the landing gear's fixed. Like he just knew things about the planes that like 4-year-olds shouldn't know about planes.
Yeah.
Kept going on. Parents are still trying to figure out like what is going on. His like memory would be like the details of the crash would become more vivid and visceral to him. So he would start again like vocalizing that like plane crash, on fire, little man can't get out, to the point where like the parents started like recognizing it almost as like a PTSD response. Like he would zone out and like almost be somewhere else, like he was
He'd have
living
that
someplace
1,000-yard
else.
stare.
Yeah.
So they'd ask him more questions, and now they're starting to like specifically ask questions about planes and like what kind of plane is this that he was crashing. So he's able to tell them like, Oh, it's a Corsair, which is a plane that was flown in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about how the plane took off from a boat, which is obviously another thing that planes did in World War II. He is then able to tell his dad the name of the boat that the plane took off of. So he tells his dad that the boat was called the Natoma, which is a famous boat from the Pacific in World War II. To make things even creepier, one day his dad is flipping through a World War II like coffee table book, and James is over his shoulder and sees a picture of Iwo Jima and just freezes and is like, that's it. That's the spot. That's where my plane went down.
Oh shit.
Oh, wow.
So his dad's like, okay. So now they have like a little bit of information to like try to put together. His family's religious, they're Catholics, they don't believe in reincarnation. This is all like something that needs to be solved and figured out and make sense. So they start searching the internet. They put in the Natoma, they put in World War II. They find out that there was a pilot named James Houston Jr. who was shot down over the Pacific in World War II. Now, they're not quite clear, is this the same person James is talking about? But James has mentioned that he is James III. So he's not named James III in this living life, but he says that he's the third, which would make James Hudson Jr. the second. So now with this extra little bit of information, they start to try to like track down this James Houston. They can't do it. They find other veterans that served with James. The story of James is that his plane was shot down over the Pacific on one of the training flights. He was one of the flights. He was one of the only pilots to not come back. So there was a man named Jack Larson who served on board with him. And when James's parents explained what was going on to Jack, he says that his blood ran cold because the person he was describing was the 21-year-old fighter pilot that he knew from the war.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
So it's 60 years had passed. There's video. I don't know how good the video actually is, but there are pictures that you can see. It's clearly like this 8-year-old boy next to this veteran, and like they're like, doing the
Homies.
whole like buddy hug, and they're taking these pictures. So this kid talked to these veterans for a while. They had no reason after meeting him to believe that he was lying.
Yeah. Also,
The
like, where would you
Yeah.
get that information if you were
No,
like,
exactly. And like people have gone back that they said like he did go to like airplane museums and stuff like this, but you're talking about a child's memory,
yeah,
and like they're not pulling this stuff out of their hat. Another thing I didn't bring up, I don't know if I put the names in here. He had 2 friends in the war that also had passed away, but before he had died, that he named his GI Joes after. And his parents later found out like these names were the
real
names
people.
of his like lost.
God damn.
Yeah, super creepy. Because kids are creepy, not creepy enough.
Yeah, no shit.
Skeptics Corner, of course, parents would, in this day and age, of course, try to make a buck off their child and make a story like this up. They did write a book. It didn't do great, so they maybe made a little bit of money, but by the time James was like 11 or so, he really did not have much memory of his past life and would willingly admit that like, I can't even talk about this much anymore. I don't know. I don't have it anymore to talk about.
We already talked about it for years.
Yeah, and now it's like memories he can't even remember.
Yeah.
So another one of those cases. There's not
That's
a
wild.
after he's 11, of course, obviously, because he doesn't remember. But like you asked earlier, Josh, he does at one point mention to his mother that he remembers the in-between.
Oh shit.
So James also told his mother that he chose his parents and that he remembered seeing Bruce and Andrea eating at a pink hotel in Hawaii, and then decided at that moment that that's when he was going to make them his parents.
What?
Now, sounds weird, like, okay,
Super boss baby-ish.
yep. Then Andrea remembered while they were trying to have their child, they stayed at the Royal Hawaiian Hotel,
Oh my-
which is famously completely pink.
Wow.
So again, another just like double down on like, how would anyone know this? How does a child of any age know that Hawaii has a pink hotel?
Right.
So they call these like time periods like intermission memories. James is not unique to remembering this. There are plenty of children that
Okay.
describe like a waiting place or like this liminal space where they can recall like picking their lives or choosing things about their next life, floating through like space and time, peaceful encounters with loved ones and light beings. So extremely close to what we consider like NDE experience.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yep. Shanti Devi too described a profound intermission experience. Hers is a little different, which also makes me question if this is why her living experience was a little different. So she doesn't just remember like dying and being in between. She remembers actually like traveling and thinking and like making choices through this time. So like she says that she detached from her body upon death and she watched, you know, the happenings in the room and the people and the nurses and the procedure. Another reason why she was so able to give you the detail of what was going on, because she was watching it
Right
in
there.
third person. She then explains like her soul's journey through like multiple different places. And she's able to describe like a silver light and all these experiences that really just align with like a near-death experience. But what is different between hers is that she's a conscious observer through all of hers, from the death to the birth. So she remembers being born. So she remembers that whole time. A lot of the kids kind of get born and have no memory, and the memories form in a little while and they come back as they start talking and stuff. Like she can now vocalize and remember saying like, hey, I remember like being dark and coming through the birth canal, being born.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
I've always had this weird theory, and it makes no sense, but it makes sense to me. Like, babies cry when they're born because, like, it's just like them being reincarnated, and you're losing all your memories of your past life and your everything
Well,
like
that's
that.
interesting.
Yeah.
I choose to believe that.
That, and
Huh.
I've also thought about it in the sense of like, if I was like a soul or like this
Thing.
super light being with like great knowledge and empathy and love, like I picture like taking a pillow and stuffing it into a mason jar. Like it fucking hurts now, man. Now I'm like in this body and I'm like, I can't, like, all my love and like that attachment to the universe is gone. Of course I'm crying. Like this is horrible.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
cold, I'm naked, I feel this
Yeah.
shit now.
Oh, man, I thought I was done with this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got some like doctor holding my ass and pushing my head forward. Like I'm good. I want to go back. But these kids remember. They remember something. Now there is a doctor who I recently learned is from Virginia. Is that right? Am I right? No, I'm wrong.
No, you're right. Virginia.
Okay.
University of Virginia. U of V.
I don't know why I thought Louisiana too, because James was from Louisiana. But so he has been studying these phenomena of these kids remembering their past lives for over 40 years. He's done more than 2,500 cases of children that have recalled their past lives. So he sought to verify them by like using a scientific method. So he came up with all these questions, this like list of 24 statements, like a list of like ways to question a kid or someone without like leading them, and like these checkpoints of like, hey, if you've done this, like that liminal space, like that would be a check mark. Like, do you remember a name? That would be a check mark. So he's done these cases forever, and he's found like overlapping and overwhelming evidence that like there is some sort of phenomena here.
Right.
He's not 100% like willing to throw his hat in like the reincarnation ring, but he is willing to say that there's something with our soul, with our consciousness that we do not understand yet. And he says that like maybe this is not so much like a feature that these kids are remembering this, it's more of like a bug, like something went wrong. Because one of those factors, or a few of those factors I should say, that he talks about in like verifying this is how these people die. And one of the biggest factors that one of these people have like immediate and unsuspecting deaths. And that is like an overwhelming theme in a lot of these cases, that these children remember these lives where there was unexpected things, like James died in a plane crash, Shanti died of childbirth. And when he tallies up the numbers of the kids that had these things happen to them, overwhelmingly these memories of past lives are male. But when you do the data, a lot of the male deaths are the deaths that are unexpected or violent deaths. So again, the numbers kind of match up. It's 72% of the cases that he studied in these kids of afterlife memories involve unnatural death. So 72% is like,
that's a lot.
Yeah.
that's like that's 100% to me. And when we're talking about stuff like this, like,
Oh yeah, that's yeah. It's not like
Yeah.
5% or 10% or like 2% of people. No,
even
like
if it was
75. That is a
50,
bunch of people.
I would say like, hey, that's a coin toss. Like
Yeah.
55, 60,
Yeah,
okay,
no.
maybe you have some outliers, there's weird things. But when you start getting up to like that 75, 72% of a populace is experiencing something this way and then
Yeah.
has an immediate effect that's verifiable and the same,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
That's
science, bitches.
crazy.
Science. You heard it here first.
Yeah, so I mentioned that he says he doesn't think it's a feature. He thinks it's more of like a bug, that like somehow something goes wrong with the consciousness, or like it's jostled or jolted or doesn't have the proper amount of time to do what it's supposed to do and
Right.
to get this thing. Shanti's case is particularly interesting because of her level of memory, her ability to still remember to this day. She still remembers. I think if she's still alive, she might be dead. But until her day she died, maybe.
Did her and her husband
Yeah.
remain friends,
Awkward.
or how did that turn
That's territory I didn't want to touch. That's a whole like episode of like some weird like reality show.
Oh man.
Here's your dead wife back to life. First of all, how
But
do you make
as
it
a
work? He's 8 years
8-year-old.
old.
That's
Yeah.
so weird.
First challenge.
Mm.
I have no idea. That would be so weird. But like you as a person, like that would fuck with you hard.
The husband?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Especially when she's like, hey, I saw you cheat on me.
And you got
And-
Right.
remarried?
Yeah, you said you weren't gonna get remarried, dick.
The
Like,
fuck,
what happened
Yeah.
here?
bag? And
Like,
then you're
she's like,
and
I'm
then
gonna
the
kill
kid
myself?
also.
No, well, the
Is-
kid is hers.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
kid
So
is-
like he's
she's
10
like-
years old, but then the reincarnated chick is like, "Hey, I'm your mom. I know I look like I'm 8 years old. but, like, this is
Right.
really weird for me too."
But like now that I found out my husband is such a schmuck, I'm just gonna kill myself, become a ghost, and haunt the fuck out of this dickhead.
Wow.
Like, that's
That's
a
a
movie
lot.
right there.
That is a see. Look at us. We're just making movies.
Hey, I would be. Imagine that shit. Imagine like, the excruciating horror and pain of childbirth, and then dying,
Oh yeah.
and then coming back and being like, "Oh, this motherfucker's here with another woman after and he's got my son that I died for."
And here I am wearing this cheap fucking dress thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
better cool
real
me off, bro.
silk. Yeah.
No one better start blowing on me because it's gonna get hot in here. I'm gonna fuck this guy up when I see him. Yeah.
Hey, breathable.
Yeah. I don't know, man. And after
It's
my
wild.
experience with hypnotism and past life regression, I have no reason to say that this is not true or valid, or that these kids aren't
100%,
remembering
yeah.
something. I'm just glad it's not my kid, because I don't know if I can handle like my kid walking up to me and be like, "Daddy, I know you from before I died." Okay.
What?
Yeah, I
Freaky.
got a bong in the basement calling my name real quick. I don't know what to do with this.
I have to not. Yeah.
This is not normal. Nah, man. Well, there are other stories. There is a story about some twins. It's very long though, so I want to give it its proper treatment in this whole episode. Again, most of these things, man, spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes on the internet looking at this stuff, and the rabbit holes are endless.
There's
Like,
so many similarities
Yeah.
too.
it's crazy. Well, again, this is one of those, like we've talked about it before with some of the paranormal things. That near death experience and that liminal space in between is like, I think if we could just understand it, I think so much shit would be unlocked for
We'll
us.
never understand it though.
I don't know. So I didn't talk about this because I haven't been able to verify it. I just saw it today, and I really haven't been able to look it up. But I saw something about Russian scientists being able to somehow code like all the like cells and shit in your body. So like when you die, they can watch like where shit goes, so they can try to follow your soul. And apparently they did. I have not
Oh.
checked that out at all.
Oh, okay. I'm interested to hear about this.
But
Yeah, I
yeah,
would be too.
I'll look up more. I don't know if it's real. Again, the internet is endlessly fake. So
Yeah, now, yeah. Fuck. That would be wild. Cause like there's all like when you die, what you like lose like there's like a
some
2
couple
kilograms
grams.
or something. Yeah, or a couple of grams that are unaccounted for that people are like, where the fuck does this go?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a, and we haven't actually done like a NDE proper episode,
Oh, we
Yeah,
which we'll
no.
should,
do.
yeah.
We had Jamie talk about her NDE, but we'll do, because that's really like, that's again, it's what put all this shit in the same basket for me. For a long time, it was always like aliens, religion, death, cryptids. Like they all had their own basket. And then like I started getting the NDEs, and I'm like, oh, maybe this shit's all the
Yeah,
same.
One
it's all
basket.
connected.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The woman who did put me under hypnosis did warn me. Mhm. The woman that put me under hypnosis did warn me that like there's a chance that I could go back to a life that wasn't on this planet, which would have been
Huh.
wild. That's not what happened, but that would have been wild.
That would be absolutely insane.
Yeah, I don't know how you have context for that. But again, there was a part in my my NDE, which my NDE, my past life regression, that was confusing to me as the observer, because there was something I understood in this Lee, but that Lee didn't have words or concepts for what they were seeing
Right.
and being told,
Huh.
which is very weird for me to like try to understand in the real time. But it's fucking wild. Again, if you want to hear about it, I could do a independent thing on it. It's a lot.
I want to
I
do
know, I
it
do
so
too.
bad.
I'm sure you can find someone by you. Like I just had to do a little research, kind of
Nah,
weed out.
man. I live in North Dakota. There's
I was gonna
nothing
say,
cool
not in
here.
my area.
I'm sure you got. Well, you have like Native American and like indigenous people, right? Like, aren't there like
Yeah,
people with
but
spirituality? Is no one that you can find?
I don't know. Maybe I'll see what it's about.
Give it a goog.
I would think you find something.
I don't know. I like that you gave her a good review. That's why.
I know.
Well,
It kind of.
again,
And you're
and I
very
was the one.
skeptical about it as I
Yeah.
am.
I
So
know.
like,
I didn't think it could happen, and like I said, the experience was not what I was expecting. So I think that really is also what's kind of like bouncing around in my mind, is that like again, I thought hypnotism, like they can make me quack like a duck. Like, I mean, she might have been able to do that, but like I would have been seeing myself doing it, just not able to
not do it.
intervene,
Yeah.
which is so
Your
it's
just
weird.
body on autopilot.
It hurts my mind. Yeah, it was a very weird experience. Awesome, cool. Like I'm almost gonna go like want to go back already, so I try like see another one, but I still like trying to take this one
Wow.
apart. Again, hey man, let us know
Yeah.
what you guys think. Have you had a past life experience? Have you had an NDE? Does your child say creepy shit to
Yeah.
you that like they're a 40-year-old man?
We
That'd be
want to
weird.
know.
Yeah. Tell us.
Put them in the comments.
That would be weird. I don't know. Reincarnation is one of those things that like is super fun to think about. But then when you really think about it, it starts to like really break your brain and like hurt.
It does.
Because you
This is
could
all-
literally think about so many different like rabbit holes and offshoots of it too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing that I have to, it doesn't make sense to me, or it makes me believe what I experience more is that like my whole life, so 41 years of what I can remember of it, if you would have asked me like, hey, do you think you had a past life? I would have responded with like, oh yeah, like I was like definitely around in like the Wild West era. Like whatever my role was in that time period, I was definitely there. Nope, not at least this not on the one I experienced.
No,
Not even
we're
close.
not.
Not even close.
I was like, nope. And I was a female. It was
Yeah.
different. It was different. But hey, man, I don't know. I'm on
At
this
least-
journey. I'm not stopping now. Next is ayahuasca.
Oh, there we go. I don't know. I want to do it, but then I don't want to do it.
No, I
I'm too
want to do it.
chicken.
If think about so here's a perfect. This is how I think about it, Josh. You mentioned to me the other day that you were hungover,
I was.
right? You suffered for the experience of being drunk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So I can do the whole like ayahuasca vomit, feel really bad.
Oh,
shit.
it's nothing
Gonna
about
be
like the
good.
being sick part. It's just like the massive hallucinogenic part, and
Oh,
then coming
you
to
mean, like,
terms with
meeting,
your
like,
inner
a-
self. Yeah.
Yes.
Meeting,
me too. I don't-
So then it's
mantis
just-
person that's gonna like
I
take
don't
you on
wanna
a
hallucinate.
trip through the galaxy. Yeah, that might be a lot.
Yeah, no. Or it's just like your inner self, and it's like you're actually a piece of
Oh,
shit.
that didn't occur to me.
I mean,
I'm not
that
ready to come to terms with that.
those are
I'll
those are
puke and shit
experiences.
myself all fucking day.
Those are experiences I've had on mushrooms though. Like I don't need ayahuasca for like myself to tell myself I'm an asshole. Like that's psychedelics have done that to me more than once. Like make me question every decision and every word I've ever said to anybody ever. Yeah. Yep. Well, it was a nice short one. Nice jump into past lives. I hope everyone enjoyed it. And like I said, I want to hear about your experiences with this. My only word to everybody, as always, is do your own research, man. This shit is fascinating. And I think the more that we all do our research, I think these conversations become easier and we actually can maybe get somewhere with them instead of just calling people kooks and
Or fringe
tinfoil
topics.
hats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like get some peer-reviewed shit up in this bitch.
Fuck you.
All right. What do you guys think? You guys good?
I'm good. Yeah, no, I think past lives are real. Like that shit's
Good.
for sure.
Everyone's still Josh and Jen. You guys aren't remembering that you're like Bill and Florence.
Not yet.
Yeah, I'm good.
Or
So far,
Jan.
so good.
Maybe you're Jan.
Maybe Jan. Mm-mm. Maybe in a couple more beers, I'll turn into somebody else. We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, a couple of beers. I'm always somebody else. I am not. Yeah. I don't. First of all, I'm not a drinker.
I'm
I
not
do
either.
drink,
I'm not
so-
either. That's why I was
so-
so hungover the other day.
Yeah, it's not good. All right, guys. Well, maybe go have a drink after this episode if you'd like. Don't do it while you're driving.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
no,
no, don't do
do
that.
that.
yeah, maybe if you're on the lawnmower driving.
Yeah, see, that counts.
Lawnmower beers and
Or a go-kart.
yeah, I guess a go kart.
Yeah, golf
Maybe
cart.
not. Maybe not an ATV.
Definitely
Yeah,
not.
No ATVs. You know what? Just your discretion. Who am I to tell
Yeah.
you what to do?
Do not operate heavy
Correct.
machinery. Full stop. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. As always, we appreciate your support. If you want to be a guest, what do you got to do?
Email us at SSOSpodcast@gmail.com.
Bada bing, bada boom. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Bring, bring.
Do all the things. And until the next time,
We're out.
bye.
Bye.
Keep it strange.
Thank you for listening. If you would like to join us as a guest, suggest a topic, or have a story you want us to share, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at SSOSpodcast@gmail.com. For more behind-the-scenes updates and exclusive insights about SSOS, make sure to follow us on social media. And don't miss out on the fun. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, thank you for listening to the Secret Society of Strangers podcast. This show is an independent production, researched and crafted by our passionate team. But we couldn't do it without all of you. We truly appreciate your support. Embrace the unknown, for not all secrets are meant to be kept. Farewell, strangers.